welcome back to Senior Support. We're talking to Jess Reiki. Jess is the Executive Director for Community Legal Education Ontario, also known as CLEO. And we talked earlier, Jess, you're celebrating 50 years. That's a real accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's your organization, not you personally.
It's close, though. It's awfully close, Debbie.
Well, we learned a lot from you at the beginning of in the first part of the show about all of the things that CLEO does for people in this province, and especially for seniors, the kinds of things they might be interested in that they could call and get some support. Let's dig a little deeper. You have a really great website with lots of resources on it. And one of those resources is called Steps to Justice. So could you just give us a bit of an idea about Steps to Justice?
Absolutely. So stepstojustice.ca is a resource that actually was a real collaborative effort. So CLEO is in charge of making sure that it stays accurate and up to date, but it actually was a collaboration between our organization and a lot of other legal organizations, including the courts, the Ministry of the Attorney General, Legal Aid Ontario, the Law Society, all came together in order to create a website that was easy to use and explain specific areas of law, but it does so in a way that we hope is easier for people to navigate. So it takes sort of common legal problems that the average Ontarian is likely to come across in the course of their lives, and it poses these questions, and then it follows a very sort of step-by-step procedure to explain what the relevant law is, and also explain sort of the next steps that somebody might take in order to address that legal problem. And then it also refers people to other resources or sources of legal support that might help somebody in managing or handling that legal problem. So we think it's a great sort of starting place for somebody who is, has a legal problem and they're really not sure what to do. They can go onto the website. They can either look at the legal topics, or they can actually just use the search bar and ask a question, and it should take them to the different areas that might come into play depending on what that problem is.
Well, it sounds really fantastic and a great resource for people to have at their fingertips. Can you tell us just a few of the examples that seniors might find useful of those subjects or topics?
Absolutely. So if you go to stepstojustice.ca, you're going to see different areas of law that are listed, or legal topics that are sort of outlined sort of at the top of the page. And certain areas of law come up a lot for people, whether maybe it is family law, and we're talking about potentially situations of abuse or domestic abuse that might be an issue for somebody. They'd find information about that there. Anything around housing law, including living in a long-term care home, that information would also be available on the website. Income assistance is another area of law that might be relevant to your audience, including Ontario Disability Support Program, or ODSP, information about the Canada Pension Plan, disability benefits, CPP. Information about that is found on the website, and then a wide range of other areas like things that deal with sort of debt and consumer law, whether it's, dealing with identity theft, or maybe just issues that you're having with a particular service. Wills and powers of attorney is another area that I think is quite relevant for everybody, but not just seniors, but there's a section on wills and powers of attorney that sort of walk people through what those documents are.
Mm-hmm. It sounds really, really great. Really a resource that a person might even want to just bookmark on their computer in case they need to check back. And I'm thinking about consumer law. We do get at our agency people calling sometimes because they bought a furnace and then they had second thoughts and what can they do? And it is good to have a place to turn where you can find out some further information about things like that. Um,
Absolutely.
I know you also do guided pathways. Now, you mentioned that the first half of the show, but the guided pathways are a little different than Steps to Justice. So, can you tell us about those?
Absolutely. We think of our guided pathways as sort of like a more sophisticated online tool. So it doesn't just provide you with information. It's actually an online interactive interview where you go on to it's actually accessed through the Steps to Justice.ca website. There's a section there that's specifically on guided pathways. And then in certain areas of law, we actually have these interviews that allow somebody to answer very sort of simple, plain language, clear questions that are meant to populate, in some cases, a court form or to create a legal document. And so, in the course of sort of having almost like a conversation or something that's a little bit easier to understand and navigate on the back end, the system actually populates either a document that's going to be sent to the court, or it's going to result in a legal document like a will, for instance. And that is something that somebody could sort of walk their way through. Most guided pathways will take anywhere between 15 minutes to even an hour, depending on the complexity of the guided pathway itself. But it can be a real benefit to somebody who may not be able to afford a lawyer and might need a little bit of help in filling out some forms or creating a document.
Mhm.